Monday morning sports reports. Thanks to Tough Man Refresh.
Top Man Refresh.
Okay, where do you want to start?
Where do you
my
bloody
friends?
start, mate?
What about the fact that the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs, formerly known as the Canterbury Berries, are sitting on top of the NRL table after 4 rounds and are the only unbeaten team
Gus's plan.
in the competition?
Gus's plan.
Gus's plan.
They've been building this for a long time.
Just 80 years.
Yeah, very. Well, I think actually only a couple of years ago they completely flipped their roster. Like there was two team photos, I think only 2 or 3 years apart, where there was not a single player. Like they completely swept house.
Yeah, that's a rebuild.
That is as rebuild Willie as you could possibly get. So
They
were threatening last year, but now here we are.
They've got Kickow and Burton from Penrith. Who else have they got? Anyone else from Penrith? I feel like they got one more from Penrith. They've got Kickow and Burton.
Oh, well, Crichton. I mean, he came after that. They did, but
Crichton as well. Critter, their captain.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah, I knew there were 3. But I tell you, Toby Sexton, he couldn't get a start at the Gold Coast.
Titans, no.
He couldn't get a start at the Titans, and now he's,
Without Burton, too.
without Burton. And that Hayward, who is the 5'8", while Burton's out, that Hayward, his grandfather was a guy called Paul Hayward. Now, who's Paul Hayward? Paul Hayward used to play for Newtown. I think it was Newtown.
I remember him.
Actually,
I don't even remember Newtown.
You'd remember this story. Okay, Paul Hayward played for Newtown Jets back in the late 70s.
That's before my time.
Yeah, but he went... in the year that he was playing football, like he played first grade football, in the October of 1978 or 79, was one of those years, somehow or other he got involved in a deal where he went over to Bangkok and he tried to import 8 kilo or 10 kilo of heroin back from Bangkok. He got busted at Bangkok and he spent a shitload of years, 25 years or something, in prison in Bangkok. Like there was major international story. He got
Bangkok Hilton.
Yeah, exactly like that. He's the grandson of him, the notorious Paul Hayward.
I don't agree with him playing football. Then he should be banned.
As a 3-generation
he should
ban.
be punished for his granddad's crimes.
Well, his granddad's not here anymore.
Oh, no, he didn't.
We can't defame the dead.
Took all the fun out of them.
Yeah.
So play on. 6 again. Let's go.
But that's pretty amazing.
6 to go.
6 to play on.
Play on.
Restart. I got
I
a good story as well.
That was pretty amazing. Yeah, well,
when we get to athletics, I got a good story.
Is it a better story than that?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a better story than that.
It's not as funny as that.
No. This story is.
I didn't say it was a funny story.
This story. No. This story isn't funny either. But it's a great story.
Oh, well, come on, tell us now then. Stop teasing.
Well, I want to give some athletics, so I should keep it for the athletics segment.
Sure.
Okay, now, where do you reckon that DCE is going to end up? Because that's the other big news. And then speaking of former halfbacks who used to be at the Gold Coast Titans, now they reckon that Manly's going to chase Jamal Fogarty, who the Titans also didn't want, and he's steering the Raiders around, and now he could end up at Manly. Now, how do you pick that?
Geez, wouldn't it be funny?
I don't understand what's happened with DCE. And if DCE comes back to Redcliffe, I reckon a lot of his legacy, well, the way that he'll be remembered, will depend on where he goes and what he does.
Yeah.
Like if he comes back to Redcliffe, that, for me, that would be fulfilling the circle of his football life. It's where it all began. When he was a kid, that's all that he saw was pictures of his dad and his uncle in a Redcliffe Dolphins jersey. Then that's the first football jersey that he ever wore, was a Dolphins jersey, under 6s or 7s or whatever it was. And if he was to complete that cycle and finish his career where it all started, how's that not giving back? And you'd have to be able to excuse him. I was really happy to see that. Geez, not doing a lot of talking in this podcast, so I didn't think I was just going to come here.
Love listening.
I was really happy yesterday that he didn't get booed.
Oh, that was
Manly
nice.
and
No,
Para
that was a nice touch.
At Brookvale Oval, I'm like, if these guys boo DCE, I don't know what's going on, but I know if you have a breakdown of a relationship after 15 years, it's sad. And the club should not treat a club legend. What would you do to have a legend like DCE for it to fall apart? There's people whose job it is to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
DCE's job is to play football and also to get compensated for it. I don't have a problem with him wanting to get compensated. He deserves to.
And we interviewed Thurston, and Thurston went out of it. We weren't even talking about it. Thurston rerouted the interview to mention it, which means that's come straight from DCE. And then later that day, I was listening to SEN, and Mel Meninga went out of his way to mention this club as out of line. So that's come obviously straight from DCE as well.
Well, Lutsy, could you imagine?
And it's like it's like a HR person contacting him. It's not even come from the top. That's what they're pissed off about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's some talent, whatever. It's
however it's happened.
Football manager or something's going, we haven't got room for you.
It'd be like the Raiders back in the day turning their back on Mel.
It's exactly, and on SEN, Mel said, would he have been pissed? And he said, I would never have played for Canberra again if that happened to me.
Yeah.
I would never have played for Canberra again.
Okay, well, there you go.
Yeah.
A lot of talk about the Dolphins, which is great, and that's why I would hope that he would end up. Wouldn't it just be fun? Just spitball and if he ended up, if he's come in Queensland, if he ended up at the Titans.
Yeah, full circle.
Just after all that shit a decade ago, and I know that they've got Campbell's. He's killing it down there as far as being in the halves, but just thinking they've got Foran, and I don't know how much longer the Foran's got in the game, but just playing there, Des Hasler coaching, there is the old school of that Manly trio. Two of them are down on the Goldie. DCE with that whatever happened the debacle 10 years ago. Just be funny if he ended up back there, because I wonder whether they would be like, well, okay, come on in, we'll sneak in, open arms. They would have shot him 10 years ago, but
they were so livid when that happened.
Well, see, I didn't realise in that whole thing. So last week when we mentioned this, I was like, oh yeah, that's right. He completely backflipped, didn't he? I never realised that, like when buying a house, there is a cooling off period. So he'd signed, but there was a cooling off period in that contract. And in that period, he went, actually, no. So, but the whole thing was framed as he flipped, terrible person. I saw like an old Gold Coast Bulletin front page. I don't know if you saw it through the week, in him in a Blues jersey, and there was he's turned his back on Queensland. And it was an editorial essentially on the front page. It was gutter journalism, but I never actually realised there was the cooling off period. And as soon as I heard that, I'm like, oh. All right, no, fair enough. He made the right call.
But then, it worked also for the Gold Coast Titans with Dave Fafita.
Yeah.
Remember? Fafita, Fafita signed with the Roosters.
Yeah.
And then, I think it's a 10-day cooling off period. Yeah. And in that time, Tino has gone, what are you doing? We had a pact. And I think I played come on, bro. What are you doing? We actually said we were going to do this together. And I think Fafita had to think about that and went, obviously they did have some type of word or bond that they'd made together, and then he reneged on the Roosters. Thank God.
Oh, yeah.
I'd hate to see him playing for the Roosters.
So DCE can't. So if he goes to a Gold Coast, there's a tick there. If he goes to Redcliffe, probably the biggest tick.
Yep.
But he can't go chasing a premiership somewhere.
Or Waterfalls for that matter.
DCE, we've talked about this, mate. We've talked about this.
I'd say don't. That's all.
No. Yeah. The other thing you're forgetting is he's been with his partner for 15 years, but are they recently married? Am I right in saying that? The Vessa, I don't think her name is. My point is, where's the wife at that stage of the career,
kids,
lifestyle.
Where is she going to go? Let's go to move to the peninsula of Redcliffe from the peninsula of Manly. I'm saying that's a no. I'm saying Gold Coast is maybe no. I'm thinking she's probably looking at Bondi and going, okay, I've got my Sydney set here. She doesn't want to relocate now. She's a really great person.
What about Bankstown?
But she ain't going western suburbs. Seriously, that's got to play a big part of it.
Huge.
You'd have to think that he'd be settled, hey? Yeah. He's been there for 15 years.
Imagine your wife. She's got her whole Manly set going on. I'm saying that's going to be a Sydney thing.
It's a tough ask.
I'm saying that's Roosters. She'll become Bondi.
Oh, yeah, you might be right. And the other... But then he's also got to think, well, he's only won one premiership. And that was...
Right at the start.
14 years ago or something like that. Is he going to win a premiership at Redcliffe?
No.
In the next 2 years?
No. Come on.
Is he going to win one of the Gold? Oh, see, no. Well, hang on. If he does go to the Gold Coast, they've got some gun players. They got Tino. They got.
You see Gold Coast winning the NRL
No.
premiership.
No,
in the next 2
they've
years,
never
buddy.
been able to put
Come
it
on,
together.
think
No, I
about
know.
it.
I know
Think
they
about
haven't.
it.
No, I mean, yes.
You know, I mean,
Yeah.
not even just
No.
calling a spade here. You know, no.
Put Ash back into deep thought here.
Well, how about this week? Right, this Saturday night or afternoon at Seabus, Gold Coast versus Dolphins. Winner gets DCE.
Oh,
DCE
like
Cup.
that.
Let's go.
So it's old gladiator stuff. Winner takes all.
I remember hearing that like
The
what,
winner
5 years ago, and it was Broncos round 4. I don't know which year it was, but the Broncos weren't going great. Maybe 2019. Broncos v Titans, and a mate texted us, winner gets Fifi. Because that was when Dave
That's
Fifita
right,
was tossing up.
Fifi
Stay with the
box.
Broncos. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, she's in the books down there. And
Playing well, actually.
the Titans won, and then they ended up signing old Dave.
mate.
If that happens, can we fly him up to sit at halfway
Yeah.
in some like big throne so that
Fifi
he can?
box.
yeah.
Yeah.
She'll preside. She'll be the master of ceremonies, obviously. For the yes,
How did Melbourne ever let Tino go?
I don't know.
I know.
That's what I want to know.
Yeah, like he was lucky to be a bench starter.
Like I grew up in Harvey Bay, and our district, so our district is Wide Bay, which is Harvey Bay, Maryborough, Bundaberg, and Gympie.
Oh, so you get Gimpy as well in that. Yeah.
Are the main things. And can you imagine Tino Fasor Malawi
Big country.
at 15 years of age coming up against some minder out of Harvey Bay? Can you even imagine what that would have? Imagine, you ever seen the footage of Payne Haas playing for Keebra?
Yeah.
It's
Have you ever
Not
seen that?
okay.
It's brutal.
It's like watching, you can see it in under sixes where it's just the big kid, they can't tackle the big kid. Well, that was Payne, except it's playing for Keebra.
I know.
Like against other really good rugby league schools, but it looks like
He does that every second week in the NRL. Like he did it against the Cowboys last week. He scored a 30-metre try untouched. And not just running straight. Like he's a big fella with a step on him and just put the foot down. And I'm thinking, imagine that. Imagine that 5, 6, 7 years... Well, not even... 5, 6, 7 years ago, he was playing in the NRL. Like 10 years ago.
Imagine how many tries he used to score in
Decimating
under
children.
eights.
Yeah.
Imagine how much fun football was for him.
Yeah. He had to get to the NRL before he'd lost.
Yeah. What's it like, mate? Oh, it was pretty good. I scored 14 tries.
Went under 94.
We won 14-0.
Yeah, but you just know the coach on the other team, getting into his little white boy halfback, going, "Hey, bigger they are, the harder they fall."
I remember that.
No,
I was that
Harder
little...
they
you?
fall.
I was a little white kid at Task.
It stops at a certain level. Yeah.
It was Sam who played for Rochdale, and my coach said, "See him out there, number 8? You go out there and you can smash him." I'm like, mate, what have I shown you over the last couple of years that makes you think that I could... The guy who makes 14 tackles a season, you think I could go out there and, okay, I went up there, just... I come off, my nose was just bleeding down my face.
It's not the size of the dog in the fight.
Oh, it helped. It helped that day.
I used to tell Levi. Levi was never into footy. He famously, like in under 13s, he somehow or other is in the A's team, and he played a game where he didn't make a tackle, he didn't run the ball, he didn't. And I said to him afterwards in the car, I went, Levi, what do you think about out there? What's going through your head when you're out there? And he goes, I think every time I get the ball, I hope someone breaks my arm so I never have to play again. And I went, you're done, mate. You see the season.
Wow.
I'll call the press
But
conference.
I famously said to him once, I said, just get the ball and run. Just run hard and straight, mate, and make them stop you. But you be committed to it. Anyway, they've kicked the ball down field, and they had this one guy, redhead, who was angry, and he could
We
hit.
all are.
Yeah, and Levi got the ball, and I could hear my words in his head: "Run the ball straight and hard." As he was doing it, I was thinking, "Oh, not at him! Don't do it today, mate.
Not at him!"
And he got
Pulverized.
obliterated. Today, mate. He told me. The other good one I said to him was
Child
Horrible
services will speak to you
parenting.
after this.
Horrible parenting.
we
We're
were
going to delete this podcast now. We can't have this evidence out there.
Warning. The following podcast might
Contains future CTE.
contains bad parental advice.
CT, ADHD, everything.
A lot of letters.
All the letters.
That's the alphabet soup is spilled everywhere.
Letters that we-
Post-traumatic stress, PTSD.
I love the idea,
LBGQ2.
I'm not saying that he went out there that he's going out there to get hurt now, but the idea is like, I just want to get my arm broken so I never have to play footy. And yet he goes out there and throws himself off jumps on his bike.
Yeah.
Like he could do so much more
exactly.
damage
It's not fear. He's
going
just-
into a tree
Yeah.
or
He's
coming down a hill.
He's just not into it.
Yeah, just a whole different mentality.
The other
yeah.
two genuinely love it. He just doesn't give a rat's ass
Yeah.
about the...
Would you bring on? Can I just get my athletics out?
Please.
Just some superlatives. That's a good word, isn't it? David Tarbottom, the statistician, puts up superlatives from the athletics. Matt Denny, qualifier for the world champs in the discus, over 68 metres. We know Lachlan Kennedy, a 0.67 second personal best in the 200 metres. He ran 20.26, beating Gout. Went from number 91 to number 5 on the Australian all-time list for 200 metres. From 91 to number 5. Another Queenslander, Ali Beer. Big PB in the 400. She's 13 Australian all-time now, so there's a heap of great stuff. PB's out the yin-yang. But before, on the Friday night before the meet, I'm down in Melbourne, catch up with a bunch of athletics people for dinner, sitting next to a guy. He'd say, "G'day, I'm Mark." "G'day, Mark." And then one of the other fellas goes, "Yeah, Mark. You know who Mark is?" He became famous because his body liquefied. I said, "I'm just going to say what?" So Mark, who he's writing a book actually, and it'd be worth having a look at and maybe talking to him when he does write it. He's got a presentation he does to corporates called The Meltdown Man. He was in a fun run in Wagga on a really hot day 30 years ago. Media dubbed him the Meltdown Man. His body temperature had risen to the point that his muscles liquefied.
Oh, what?
Oh,
It
gross.
poisoned his kidneys. He lost 50 kilograms.
Wow.
His body melted.
Wow.
He went into a coma,
Wow.
a medically induced coma. He couldn't move or talk when he came out of it, so he was just a prisoner in his own body. Got some gangrene. His left leg, so had to cut his leg off, so he's got one leg. He was it mentally affected him, but talking to him now, he talks quite normally again. But the Meltdown Man.
Wow.
His name is Mark Doherty.
There you go.
But all his mates like, his body liquefied. That's why he got famous, didn't you, Mark? He goes, yeah, mate, I did. My body liquefied.
Tell the story of how your body melted.
Yeah, his body melted doing a fun run.
Crazy. Not so fun.
During a fun
Not
run.
so fun. Hey? Crazy.
You are right. That wasn't a funny story.
No, it
Yeah, I
wasn't a
thought he
funny
said it was
story.
going to be a funny
No,
story.
no, I said it was not going to be
he
a
said
funny
it wasn't.
story.
Okay.
Yeah,
Alright.
but it was a good story.
Yeah.
You know, but
Josh Giddey over the weekend as well. How insane half-court
that
shot.
was nuts.
Just in the moment.
I'm coming.
But to make that happen too, so the Bulls are still sitting outside where they want to be, but he and this other bloke are just dragging this team forward because they haven't won a championship since Michael Jordan in '98.
Yeah, wow.
So they will cling on to anything, and now Giddey moved from OKC over to Chicago. Like I loved it, and like you and me we were messaging over the weekend about it, like. You know those moments where Australians do well in the big, and we played the commentary in the main body of the show, but
Yeah.
I love that g'day that you go.
G'day,
you know
mate."
what? In this moment, we're going to take it. We're going to take the sort of international cringe because we've had this big moment. But I sent you that photo of the weekend of how Giddey scoring over LeBron. To
Yeah,
win
that was
game.
insane.
Yes.
The reverse of that was a couple of years ago. LeBron broke the all-time NBA points record scoring over Josh Giddey.
Yeah. It was
So-
the exact opposite.
Yeah, exact
really?
opposite. Yeah.
Not from halfway, but
Oh, did the commentator
Play
say, "G'day, mate"?
Yeah.
Giddy,
He was doing
G'day,
it.
mate.
He was
G'day.
doing his
Oh,
best to
he's
combine
using-
the two.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
G'day, mate.
2 seconds left. Giddy for the win!
My God! I cannot believe this! Elizabeth! I'm coming, baby! Oh, no!
Improbable!
Unbelievable!
Impossible!
Magic Giddy! Good day, mate!
Yeah, it's hit the hard gid
Magic
there.
Giddy,
Yeah.
g'day, mate.
There's a really sick photo on Josh Giddey's Instagram. If you haven't seen it already, it's a photo of him. Obviously, he's had the shot. The clock's gone to 0. The ball's yet to go on the hoop, and you've got Luka Doncic, who is one of the biggest trades of all time, just a couple of months ago now, and LeBron James both looking at the ball, and then Giddey's just there, with his follow through.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like surely you'd frame that. That's
That-
pretty insane.
That's going to be a legendary photo. And it's those two
It's
players
those
in the
two,
Lakers.
exactly,
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It's
So what's
Wow.
the rule?
Yeah.
Is the rule
long as it's
so the
left the
ball
hand.
can go in after the
it just-
buzzer.
as long as it's left the hand.
It has to have left the hand
Yeah.
before the buzzer.
Yep.
Yeah. Insane.
Is that what it is in AFL too?
Yes. Yes.
You
So-
have to have kicked it
Yeah,
before.
you've kicked it before the siren, and the ball goes through. Now, if the ball is touched, it can still go through for a behind and still register on the score.
But
So
you can't continue playing.
No,
can you?
if someone-
no, not like in footy where it's
you
okay,
finish the
last
passage of play
no,
or the
it's-
tackle. It's the next. Yeah.
It's the action all the way up to that moment.
So if someone takes a mark after the siren, it has
No.
to be before the siren,
Has
and
to be
then
before the
the
siren.
mark can still be played.
The mark can still be played if they've taken it before the siren.
Yep.
I've watched players take a mark before the siren and then not know what the time is up to and play on as the siren goes.
Oh,
Oh yeah, I'll get you. But I can catch it with one. I catch it.
Yep.
Then
Bang,
the siren goes.
you still have a chance to
Yeah.
kick for goal if you're
Yeah.
within range.
Yeah. Okay.
Was that how the I mean, we're going back 10 years now, over 10 years, the Lions win over Geelong, where
Yeah,
they
Ashton
scored
McGrath.
Ashton
Ashton
McGrath with
McGrath,
like 50 points in the second
Yeah,
half,
yeah,
or was it the quarter?
About that
Yeah.
in the I think 7 or 8 goals in the last quarter.
Yeah.
The miracle on grass,
Yeah.
which I know would cause a massive fight in your household.
No.
No, you're good.
No. Lions all the way, baby, just like the weekend. Well, I mean, that was a great turnaround because they were going like busted too. What were they down? Like 20?
No, more than that. It's 48,
one stage,
48-16, yeah.
Yeah, was that at halftime? Or no?
late second quarter.
Late second
How
quarter.
much
Yeah.
were we down against old mate the week before?
Oh,
was it Richmond?
West Coast.
West Coast,
Yeah,
right,
about
yeah.
5 goals to 1 at quarter time.
Yeah.
The Geelong didn't score a point in the third quarter the other day, and the Lions got back to a 1-point lead. Was it 49-48? I
Yeah.
think by the third quarter.
Game has been in the balance
you know.
after that. But yeah, they have, as Lynchy said earlier in the show, they have been starting slowly. Mind you, they won 2 of their finals last year by coming from behind.
Yeah.
So they can do it, but the worry is going to be don't ever get reliant on your cattle being able to come in late in the game and just go, yeah, we've got them. It's one side is belief, the other side is don't get complacent.
And the Reds, they had a win. They're on top of the
sitting on top.
table since 2012.
Reds.
How good's that?
Lions.
Yes, Kiss.
And they
Happy
took
for
Let's
him.
kiss, yeah.
That's when they won it, right? 2012 was when they won.
2011.
2011. Yeah,
2011,
right.
That
Yeah.
big Quade Cooper.
Quade Cooper, Digby Iwani.
Yeah. Minwoo Lee, congratulations.
Yes.
Winning his first PGA event. I just realised there was a bit of, when he hit that last 6-inch putt, he stood over the ball and did that. There's a controversial thing in golf called, what's it called? Where they stand over the ball and they kind of...
Because I think the shadows, like, is that what you're referring to?
No.
Lee opted to stand over the putt and pretend to read any break using the divisive aim point method.
Oh, okay.
So it's like apparently it's a divisive thing or some bullshit.
Because I don't know lots about golf. Obviously, you're probably
Okay.
He stands there.
Okay, so he stood over the top of the ball.
And Scotty Scheffler laughs. It's a whole golf joke thing. Like,
golf gags,
Golf gag.
timeless.
Okay, he's going to
They
win.
never
So
give
he's
up.
just taking the piss here.
No, he takes a piss and then he just hits it. But like, yeah. But he stands over. If the ball's between his feet and he stands there like aiming at
It's
it.
made like a centre point, yeah.
So that must be a contentious thing.
Righto.
I've never done it. I'm going to start doing it if it helps.
I guess the saying that you're trying to, yeah.
You're all about being contentious on the course, aren't you?
I'm very contentious on the course.
That Lutsy.
Lotsy walked so Happy Gilmore could run.
Exactly. Anything else? Gentlemen.
We petered out.